The Freshman. Yeah, that's right, folks. We're doing another silent film. It's been a minute. What was the last one we talked about? Was it Metropolis? That's years ago now. I love silent film. I love that era. I'm a huge fan of old school Hollywood. We know this. Everyone knows this already. And this is the first time we're actually going to be jumping into one of these silent film comedic stars of the era. We've talked about some of the big science fiction stuff that come out from early film. Now we're going to be talking about one of the big three. I say big three, there are of course others and prominent people all the time, but when people look at like the big silent film stars, I think in like a modern context, they look at Charlie Chaplin, they look at Buster Keaton, and they look at the guy we're going to be talking about today, Harold Lloyd, because we're talking The Freshman, an early movie that is really weird and fun to look at. It's sometimes hard to talk about silent film on this channel because it's just you describing the stuff you're seeing. And there's all the title cards that have all the dialogue, and I don't know if I'm going to tell you all the dialogue in this film. I barely remember all of it. It's also hard to talk about comedies because it's just going to be me describing a joke, and me describing a joke isn't as good or strong as you seeing the joke played out. And because this is a visual medium, in an era where it was just visual mediums and not an audio medium, I'm just going to be describing a joke to you. So we'll see how this goes. It might just be loosely describing the plot of The Freshman, because there is kind of a plot to The Freshman. It's a typical plot we see in this era. I like Harold Lloyd. You know, I didn't think he'd be the first one we got to, but I watched this film recently and I'm like, let's just talk about it. Because, I don't know, like, it's hard. Buster Keaton is probably my favorite of that era, of those guys even. I think the practicality for stuff that he does is impressive and immaculate. Chaplin might not be my favorite, but I appreciate what he's done. Keaton might be the most physical, but what really makes Harold Lloyd work for me, he's the most like self-deprecating. He's like, I'm going to make myself look like a little nerd, a little schmuck. I'm not going to look tough or cool. Not that I think, you know, the tramp looks cool or like the cameraman looks cool. But he's just like, I'm going to be the butt of the joke in a way that isn't like physical. I'm just going to be like a silly guy. And I respect that. You know, he's got a distinctive look with like the dark hair and the big glasses, and he makes it work for him. And Lloyd is just quietly one of those cool guys too. I like him. And I love this era of silent films, and I love this era of comedy because it influences so much of what I like going forward, which is just things like The Simpsons and Looney Tunes and just like using the sets in the world around you to make something go completely weird. So this movie stars Harold Lloyd. He plays a man called Harold Lamb, and Harold has saved up a bunch of money to go to college. Nothing in this world means more to him than going to college. Like, that's the only thing he wants to do is go to college. He saved up $476, I do believe. And I'm like, this is like almost 100 years ago. That would have got you through a year of college. That couldn't even get me through a day. You know, it's crazy. It's crazy. But his parents were like, this kid of ours, he wants to go to college, is to be a college kid because he's obsessed with college. He watched a movie about college. There was like a cool character who does like a little neat dance. He's like, hi, I'm Speedy. And everyone in college loves him because he's the cool guy. He gets on the train to go to college. He meets like a girl there. Her name is Peggy. They instantly hit it off on the train. There's some weird connection where they're trying to solve the crossword together. And they're saying like words for someone you love, like darling or sweetheart or honey bunch or whatever. And like an old lady behind them, she's like, oh, isn't love just grand? Sweet young lovebirds. And they're like, oh, no, we're just trying to solve a crossword. Then he gets to the college campus. And he just gets into some shenanigans being a little goofball. There's like some bullies there that pick on him, send him in the wrong directions. He gets into like the dean's car and the coachman drives off with the wrong person in it, takes him to like the presentation that the dean is supposed to give to the entire school. But he's not the dean. He's a freshman. It's the freshman. And he's now giving the speech in front of everybody. He's trying to get like a cat off of like a ledge. They open the curtain. He's on stage for all like the students to see him. And it's just shenanigans. He's like stuck on a table. He can't get off. He's trying to hide a cat underneath his sweater. He literally taped like a T to his shirt for, I think it's Tate is the school, Tate College or something like that. So he just looks like a little goofball who's stuck in front of the school. And what does he do to try to win his friends over? His friends over. He does the little dance from the movie he likes and says, hi, you could call me Speedy. And they're like, hell yeah, Speedy, Speedy, Speedy. Let's go get ice cream, Speedy. So like 30 students usher him out, and now he doesn't have enough money to like live well in college. And like that's awesome. Like that is so funny, it's stupid. Like a guy who loves college so much that he wants to make friends and like have the whole college experience, but he doesn't know how to do that. That's funny. So because he doesn't have enough money, he has to get like a rundown place to live, which is like this weird ladies' boarding room or something. And guess what? Her daughter is the one he met on the train. And she can't go to college. She is like a housekeeper or something. And they have instant chemistry. But he wants to impress all his cool college people. So he puts a picture up on the wall of his favorite college person, which is just like the big man on campus. And he's like, I'm going to do everything this guy did to be the new guy. And I'm going to replace him when he graduates because I'm going to be the new big man on campus. You just buy it so well because you just have this guy who's overly friendly, looks really happy, but looks kind of like, nerdy and goofy, and he's not going to be good at stuff. So then we get some extended sequences where he's trying out for the football team, which is really funny because, all these like big, broad-shouldered guys, he walks in with like a nose guard and a mouth guard, can't really play with the big boys. Eventually they like break like their body bag that they use for like tackling. So instead he's going to become the body bag they used to tackle. And the coach is like, we can't have this kid on the team. But the big man on campus is like, no, we'll keep him around. We might need him, like a reserve seat. He could be our water boy. It's just great. Just extended sequences of Harold Lloyd getting tackled by these guys. And it's just really funny. They throw him all over the place. And every time he tries to like tackle the body bag, it gets lifted up from him. It's just that type of humor. You've seen it a million times in cartoons because this is where it comes from. This specific weird gag of just this guy trying to do the basic thing that he can't do. It's the rule of thirds where it's funnier on the third time. That's when something different happens to it. And just him trying to make himself comfortable when he gets like hit by these guys. So he puts down like, just some padding. So if he falls, it's going to be okay. He puts it on top of a door. Well, before he gets tackled, the door opens and he falls down a flight of stairs. Like, come on. That's funny. I love that so much. Oh, it's great. It's just stupid stuff like that that makes a movie like this work. He's on the team. Doesn't realize everyone's making fun of him, but he's just having the time of his life. And that's all he wants. And then the students are like, let's throw a party for Harold because he's cool. But he doesn't have a nice suit, so he has to go get a nice suit with his limited budget. And the person that he's having tailor make his suit is kind of a lush. And he can't really stay straight because he has his dizzy spells. So we have to pump him full of alcohol so he can stay afloat. So they make a very cheap suit. And you get another extended sequence, which is freaking awesome, of just this party going on. And there's multiple things happening throughout this party. Everyone's trying to like pull him aside to do stuff. And his suit's falling apart. He's trying to dance with these people. He loses his sleeve. He puts the wrong type of sleeve on. So now the sleeve is too long. And eventually it just leads to him getting the tailor to come to the party. And he'll just like keep spiking drinks to keep this guy awake from his dizziness so he can fix the suit while he's dancing. It's got the classic sequence where he uses like an arm that's not his own arm to shake somebody's hand. And then the arm reacts exactly how you'd expect the arm to react. And he's like, why is the arm reacting like this? I didn't think the arm would react like this. And it's funny. And this whole sequence just eventually ends with his pants being ripped off and him dragging like a tablecloth with him. And he just kind of like runs away in shame because Peggy might see him and he kind of likes Peggy. But there's some guy getting a little rough with Peggy. So he steps in to stop them. And that just leads to like the truth being revealed where it's like, you're a loser and we don't like you. You're doing college wrong. You're not a college boy. You're a loser. He gets really mad. But he's like, no, I'm good. I'm a good boy. I'm a good college boy. That's the movie. There's another sequence we'll get to, but it is 1925. These are 70 minutes to 75 minutes. It's just extended sequences of jokes. He steals a pair of pants after he loses his own. He's just like a little silly boy running around trying to be cool all the time. I'm trying to think of like the modern equivalent to the Harold Lloyd type. Would it be like a Gosling? Would it be like a Gene Wilder? No, Gene Wilder's not like modern. But I think there's like an easy transition where you can see the Buster Keaton of today is somebody like Tom Cruise, doing your own stunts, doing the impossible. But who's the guy that's like willing to make themselves look like the butt of the joke, but is still very serious and taken with respect, and people like him? Would it be Gosling? It might be Gosling. I guess it'd be like a Tom Holland too or something. I don't really know, but that's interesting. So the big end of the movie is the football game against their rival school, and our team is just being wiped out. Like literal people in commission dragged off the field in like, like a classic whatever thing you use to drag people out. What do you call them? Doesn't matter. But the team's losing. They only have 2 reserves left. It is our boy Harold Lamb and another person, and they call in the other person. But when the last person gets hurt, we have to bring in Harold. And then it's like 15 minutes of watching this kid who's never played football in his life suddenly have to play an entire football game. He goes the wrong way. He starts on the wrong team. As soon as he gets tackled by like 20 dudes, he doesn't know where he is or what he's doing. He's running all over the place. There is a sequence where like an old man who's pissed off that the team is losing throws his hat onto the ground. He thinks it's the football, so he starts literally running away with it, thinking he won the game. But of course he didn't. And the whole thing eventually leads to the big sequence where he gets the game-winning catch. He runs down the field and nobody can stop him until he's tackled at the very end, but he got the ball over the line, and Harold Lamb has won the big game. It works so well because it's such a low-scoring game that they just barely win by like 1 or 3 points. Just like, that is what you need to do here. That is so funny, and it works great. And he won. He got the girl. Everything's happy. Everyone's doing like his little dance because they're like, he's a hero. He's a college hero. The freshman just might replace our big man on campus one day. And like, come on. This is so much fun. So much great energy. I'm laughing my ass off through half of this. Again, me explaining a joke to you isn't going to do it justice. You have to watch this for yourself. Because Harold Lloyd is just a genius. And he's willing to put himself in a different type of position than some of these other guys. There's no darkness behind him. It's just like, hey, I'm kind of a silly looking guy. I'll be the joke for a bit. I got big glasses. That means I'm silly. And that's kind of fun. You got to respect him for doing that. And the freshman, if you haven't really like gotten into this world before or know too much about classic comedy of this style, it's a very easy place to start. There are so many different like renders on YouTube you can watch. It's a very good movie and worth exploring. Please do it. I like people talking about this stuff, and it's really fun to go back and watch these. The Freshman is awesome. Please check it out. So that is going to do it for this episode of Comedic Tales. Thank you all for watching this video. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And of course, I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.